Hey everyone, and welcome back to A Piece of Her. This is a space where we are going to be peeling back the layers, getting honest about some things that's under the surface, and reminding each other that becoming is messy, but it is worth it. Today's episode is the gentle giant versus perfection. So let's get started and let's talk about perfection. I want to say to y'all that we were taught to chase it. We were taught to chase it. We were taught to wait until it's polished, to speak when it sounds right, and to move when it looks ready. But what if perfection is the enemy of you successfully moving in all of what God has called you to be? What if perfection is the root of your stagnation? Here's the truth that nobody likes to admit. God never asks for perfection. He asks for a yes. He asks for faith, and he asks for movement. And for your real, raw, I'm talking unfinished self to show up when he says go. So many of us, especially women, carry a lot of stuff, and we are always under constant pressure. We have to pull it together before we show up. That's one of the reasons why I fought so hard to even leap into this podcast. Why? Because I was feeling at the time I have to look absolutely flawless. You have to sound flawless. You have to be flawless. But perfection is just a delay. Perfection is nothing more than a tactic disguised as discipline. We say it's all about being excellent. We don't want to move. And I'm all about excellence. I believe in doing things in such an excellent way. But I had to learn that it was perfectionism that was stopping me from being all of who God called me to be. So today, we are gentle giants dismantling that lie. We're going to be, really admitting that the fear of not being enough, that there is a fear of not being enough. And perfectionism masks insecurity as well too. We kind of blame it on perfectionism, but then we have to kind of look inward. I had to kind of look inward and see that, hey, there's some insecurities that were masked as perfectionism. And there is a breakthrough that can happen if we commit ourselves to moving beyond the need to be all of who God has called us to be, even if it means that it's not there yet. We don't see everything right before us, and that we don't have to be polished to move. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do as a gentle giant is just to show up unpolished. That was a decision that I had to make, is that, you know what? I'm just going to show up unpolished. There are so many things that, okay, we have this self, very, very critical about this, about that, and this is not right and that is not right. But how do we continue to just throw ourselves out there and show up? Anyway, you don't have to be flawless. We sometimes we need to hear that, especially if you are a person who has always been under it seems like a microscope of people saying, you got to fix this, fix your hair, fix your collar, you're this or you're that or this. But you don't have to be flawless to do what God has called you to do. But you have to be faithful. You don't have to be polished to be powerful. And you don't have to be perfect to give God your yes. So I want you to think about this. What piece of you have you been holding back while you wait for it to be perfect? I found myself doing that a lot. Is like just holding back, waiting for something to be perfect that may never eventually even end up happening, is that are we really gonna get to this state of perfection, or are we just gonna kind of delay and delay and delay and delay? What would happen if you just showed up anyway? I'm hoping that today's episode gives you permission to move. I hope that you feel empowered to speak. I hope that you are bold enough to build. And I hope that you find yourself saying that now is the time to become unpolished on purpose. Because why? Your obedience matters more than your image, and your becoming is far more powerful than your perfection. Thank you for sitting with me in this piece of my story. If this spoke to you, share it with another gentle giant who needs the reminder God never asks for perfect, but he did ask for a yes. Connect with me on social media, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, and let's keep becoming together. Until next time, stay unpolished on purpose.